Good morning and welcome to this morning yoga session for balancing your energy and bring a bit of length and strength into your body. I have a block, a belt and a bolster, but you don't need any of those. You can practice this whole session without those. However, if you do want to find any replacements, you can use a book, a regular belt that you would use on a dressing gown or on your trousers, or a pillow rather than a bolster. So we're going to get started when you're feeling ready. We're going to start off in a seated position, and you can have your legs anywhere that feels right for you. So you could have them stretched out nice and long. You could have them crossed over. You could even be seated on a chair. We're going to place our right hand on our tummy and our left hand on the chest. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Allowing expansion in the torso. Allow the shoulders to be heavy, the neck muscles are loose. Any tightness in that area, we soften down. And this in turn allows the breath to move through us a little bit more easy. When we're not tense and tight here, we're less restrictive of the breath. That breath can begin to make its way all the way down to the belly. We balloon forwards. We expand in width and height through the diaphragm and chest. The shoulders draw up and wide, back down and in. We're not controlling our breath here or taking a specific breath pattern, but we are allowing the breath to feel free and natural, nourishing, big. We're allowing the breath to feel intentional. The breath is so powerful. It allows us to arrive back in our body, to be present. It's a tool to instantly calm our nervous system. And all we need to do to access that is allow a few moments where we just allow our awareness to solely focus on the drawing in and out. Taking a bit of time for it to become deeper, more nourishing, more calming. It connects our mind and our body instantly as we focus on where is expanding and contracting, as we focus on how it feels, which parts of the body are filled with breath, which parts of the body are moving. Lovely. We're going to begin to move with that breath, if that feels okay for you. As we inhale, we reach all the way up and over. And as we exhale, we draw through the side. Inhale, open the body. Exhale, use the out breath as we draw those abdominals in and towards us. To use the out breath to draw you back through center. Inhale, we open. Think about finding length. And inhale. Exhale, abdominals draw in and guide you back to center. Inhale, find an openness in the chest, a length from hip to fingertips. Good job, last one. Lovely, and come back through center. We find a gentle twist open. We can be on a chair here, we can be on the floor, we can have our legs long or cross-legged, whatever feels right for you. Listen to your body. We don't have to be in the deepest twist we can. can. It's just about finding length through the spine, openness through the chest. Other side. Lovely job, well done. Come back through centre. And from here we're going to draw one leg out towards the side of the room and the other leg comes into a nice deep bend. We square off the hips, so if you find that one hip is floating high, you might grab your book or your block and just sit your two sit bones right at the front of the block. So we have this little bit of a tilt in the pelvis. That's going to allow a little bit more ease through the hamstrings, through the lower back. We're going to frame that extended leg, allowing the heart space to shine towards the toes, and then hinge gently forwards. We think chest to toes rather than just melting down towards the knee. We don't want to collapse with the nose. We want the spine to be long, chest open, and if you do feel comfortable to begin to drop the forearms down, then we can, but we're prioritizing length and openness over depth. We'd like our awareness to be with the back of the leg, the outer hip, the length of the spine. Well done. And from here, we plant the inner forearm down just next to the calf and we rainbow up and over, allowing an openness here, nice crescent moon with the arms. Your awareness might shift towards the inner thigh, the inner hip. And then if you would like to, we rainbow that top arm all the way back and down. Bear down through all 5 fingertips. And we push and gently open through the front body. Imagine that you are reaching towards that wall behind you with your hand. Your toes stay pointed, your hips are driving forwards and up. And then we rainbow all the way back down. Well done. Taking that leg into a lovely bend. Well done. Hands come to the hips here. Sorry, to the knees rather. And we just allow a little bit of movement through the spine before we move on to the other side. As we inhale, we round the chest forwards. As we exhale, we round the chest back. Inhale, draw forwards. Exhale, close off. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath here. Well done. And when you're feeling ready, we extend the other leg long. You might have sole of the foot to inner thigh. We extend. You might dorsiflex that leg that is long, or it might feel better for you today to be soft and relaxed through that foot. Think about what feels right for your body. And then when we're feeling ready, we frame that leg. We are going to shine the heart space towards the toes. Melt the hands slightly forwards, melt the chest forwards and down. Aim for length and openness. Every inhale draws us longer, every exhale might draw us deeper, or it might just deepen us into the present moment. It might deepen us physically. It might allow the muscles to relax down. Often the exhales have this lovely relaxing effect on both the mind, the body, the nervous system. So when we say deepen on the out breath, it doesn't mean lengthen, deepen with every single breath. A lot of that deepening is unseen. The out breaths are a perfect opportunity to let go. Letting go of tension in the body. Letting go of thoughts that arise. The inhales are often perfect opportunity to focus in. The inhales often when a thought will arrive. And the exhales are often in day-to-day life when we'll spiral into that conversation. So we can use what we know about the breath and the mind and how interconnected they are. We can use the inhales to focus in on the present moment, becoming aware of the expansion. Being aware of how the muscles feel that we're targeting as we breathe in. Can we feel that breath reaching all the way down? And we can use what we know about the exhale and the mind relaxing to let go of whatever thoughts do arise, letting go of any feelings that we hold in the body, in the emotional body. When we're ready, we plant the forearm down and we rainbow that arm all the way up and over, inviting length through the side body. From hip to fingertips, we are long and open. When you are ready, we rainbow that arm all the way up, back and down. We bear down through the fingertips and thumb. We push and we open. We avoid collapsing down here. We're not just relaxing into this pose, we're driving forwards and up with the pelvis. We're reaching as tall as we can with that hand. And then when you're feeling ready, we come all the way back down. And we might cross our legs into our next pose, which is our cat-cow. So you could practice cat-cow seated, which would look like this. We round through the spine. We draw the tummy all the way back. We drop the crown. And then we would rainbow forwards in the opposing direction, drawing the chest forwards and drawing the neck and crown up and back. However, we can also gently shift into tabletop position. If we come into our tabletop, then the pose will make a little bit more like a traditional cat-cow. So fingers spread wide. Shift the weight until the shoulders are slightly back or directly above the wrists, just not forwards and over because we don't want to hurt the wrists at all. Knees are directly underneath the hips, and we exhale round through the spine. Push all the way up towards the spine with the tummy and the sky with the spine. As we inhale, we rainbow through the body. We open the chest, draw the nose all the way towards the wall out in front, and then we exhale round. Closing off the body, drawing up and in with the abdominals. Inhale, open, find length. Exhale, close off. Find height. We'd like to keep the abdominals lifted when we are in both cat and cow. So this pose here, it can be tempting to relax the abdominals, but we'd actually like to keep them really taut, really lifted. It becomes this lovely massage for the internal organs. Allow yourself to move intuitively. And if it feels right for you to do so, we tuck the tailbone down and we begin to round through the spine in more of a circular motion. So this can be largely intuitive here. We don't need to follow a specific pattern here. You might move clockwise, that's how it feels most intuitive to me. You might feel a little bit more inclined to go with a circle forwards and backwards, maybe more of a bird's eye view circle like so. You might feel more correct to draw all the way forwards with the hips and then all the way backwards into child's pose like so. Just listen to your body here. There is no right or wrong. As long as we are being intuitive and listening to the body. You might move your hands, you might move back into that traditional cat-cow, you might flow. This, at the start of the practice, is always so lovely to allow for intuitive movement because it really puts you back in contact with your body. We're not just taking poses and observing how the body feels. We're directly tapping in, responding and listening to our own body, thinking about where we'd like to move in the present. You might extend the arms forwards and invite movement through the side body. You might feel a little bit of cracking. Be mindful of those areas that are really tense. Well done. And whenever you're feeling ready, we're going to land in our upward facing dog. So upward facing dog, we have our wrists directly underneath our shoulders, soft bend in the arms, and you decide how deep you are into your pose. So we could be lifted all the way up. We could have quite a deep bend in the elbows tucked in by the side for just a gentle opening of the heart space. We lower gently down, and then we inhale lift. We lower gently down on the out breath, and then we inhale lift. Now we can stay here, or if it feels right for you, we might rainbow the arms back. Think about someone pulling your wrists upwards and back. Drive the hips into the floor and gently lift the toes. Again, we're aiming for length through the body over height. Think about your crown reaching forwards, your toes reaching backwards. We breathe deeply. And then hands come directly underneath the shoulders. We keep the elbows tucked in. If you would like your knees down to come into a half press up, absolutely do feel free to drop them down. If you'd like to come into a full plank from here, then we push. We lift the hips and we pedal through the heels. In our downwards dog, we would like to think about a gentle inward rotation of the knees. So your heels are shining very, very slightly outwards. This originates all the way from the hips, so your sit bones are really drawing up and back. Well done. When you're feeling ready, come all the way off the heels, round through the spine as we did in cat-cow, and come back to your plank. And then hips come all the way back up to the sky. Walking through the heels. And then again, we lift the heels, we round through the spine. And then all the way back up. We have one more of these.
all the way forwards, and then all the way back up. Walking through the heels. This time, we are going to lift one of the legs. The left leg draws towards the sky. We draw the knee in towards the chest, and then plant it down. That foot lands in between the two hands, so it's framed. Drop your back knee, top of the back foot, and gently drive open with the heart space. Hands can lift towards the sky, gaze can travel up, or if it feels more correct, we can stay a little bit more grounded. Listen to your body. Hips drive forwards and they remain squared off as much as possible. If there were two car headlights on your hips, they would stay facing forwards, shining on that one in front of you. Drop gently down, plant your right hand, and gently peel open towards the left side of the room. Well done. Rainbow that arm back and down, frame the foot, and we walk backwards with the hands. Now, you might need to adjust a little bit here, as we would like the knee and hip relatively stacked, hips facing forwards, and we still want to feel that nice gentle stretch all the way through that left leg. So we're not hinging too far backwards here. Well done. Spine is straight, chest is open. Well done. And then slide that leg back, come into child's pose. Spend a moment in child's pose. Knees can come wide if we need a bit more room to breathe. But sometimes that slightly constricted breath can feel lovely in the morning. If we haven't yet had breakfast, then it can feel quite nice to have the breath expand into the back body. When we have had breakfast, it can feel a bit more uncomfortable. So listen to your body. Do what feels good for you in the moment. There is no right or wrong as long as we are listening to our body. When you're ready, look forwards, travel with the chest, come into your upward facing dog, tuck your toes, drop your chest, and push all the way up to your downwards dog. Travel with that right leg all the way up towards the sky. Knee comes in towards the chest, and we land that knee down. Well done. Nice low lunge here. Listen to your body. So you could stay here, or if it feels right to do so, if you feel sturdy and stable, we could rainbow the arms all the way up and back, open through the chest. If you don't feel stable, draw that right leg out a little bit more towards the right, just so you have a wider surface area. Arms are back, as if someone is pulling your fingertips towards the wall behind you, but you are releasing your hips forwards towards the wall in front of you. Open through the chest, long through your body. And then when you're ready, we drop the hands and we peel open with that right hand. This should feel really lovely. So much of the body is being stretched and opened, strengthened and lengthened. Well done. Drop that hand, travel back with that leg, come into your child's pose. Okay, and we peel gently up. So we are coming into our first yin pose. We are going to grab our pillow or bolster if you wish. However, you can absolutely do all of these poses without any pillow or bolster.
that's coming out in front, ready for the next pose. This pose, we are going to tuck our toes, like so. Hands can come down onto the thighs, or if it feels far too intense, which is completely understandable if it is, then we can rest forwards, like so. So the options are kneeling toe tuck or child pose toe tuck. Toe tucks we don't need to practice for too long because they are so intense. You are targeting so many of the meridians here. Sole of the foot center and then the 5 toes in each foot are all targeted and stimulated. Now, because we're moving from yang to yin, there might be naturally a little bit of resistance towards that shifting of energy. So it's always nice to take a short pose to gradually enter us into that more yin-like state. We often need to remind the body of how to practice yin. So we need to relax down the muscles, specifically of the target area. There is no resistance from the physical body. We just allow ourselves to sink and melt into it. We allow a softening. We allow gravity to take us. Easier said than done when the pose feels super intense. Yin from the outside looks so gentle, so relaxing, but on the inside it can be very, very intense. It's a mental discipline as well as a physical one. We're teaching ourselves to breathe through the intensity of the poses, to relax down the body. We never want to relax into a pose when it feels wrong for us, but we do relax when it just feels intense and maybe slightly uncomfortable. Okay, when we're ready, we roll that bolster very slightly forwards and we are going to untuck those toes. Now, we don't want to bring a lot of movement into the body. It can be really tempting to go straight into a toe point here, which we're not going to do. We're going to leave them soft and relaxed. We're going to melt with our heart space forwards onto the bolster. Again, we can practice every movement in this sequence without any props. So don't worry if you don't have a pillow or a bolster. If we do, the pose is this. If we don't, then we're going to practice Sphinx. Either this pose here, or lift it up like so. So, elbows are down, or elbows are lifted, or we're resting the chest on the bolster for more of a restorative practice. Whether we are taking more of a yin practice or a more of a restorative practice, we are getting the same benefits. Restorative normally means that we are just incorporating bolsters, pillows, blocks, bringing the ground up to us, to mean that rather than that simpleness of gravity, the heavy body, the ground, nice and hard, a really strong discipline, we're just incorporating a little bit more of a restorative element where the body can melt a little bit more. Both have such similar benefits. They're amazing for the nervous system. They both bring our body, our mind, our energy into that yin-like state. One is a little bit more nourishing and gentle in the moment. If you think about yin as we're always looking for 50% discipline, 50% comfort. So we're nourishing our body. We're thinking about how we can be really kind to our body, really compassionate to our body, but equally, the poses are not easy. We don't want them to feel easy because then the mind can wander very, very easily. We want the intensity of the poses to serve as a bridge to the present. For example, here, the abdominals are stretching, the lumbar spine. We have that lovely gentle compression. You might even feel a stretch through the front of the hips. Our yin practice is not only targeting the physical body, but it's also working with the energy body. Yes, in the way that we're shifting from yang to yin, but also in the way that we are working with the meridians. So for example, running through here is our urinary bladder meridian, stomach and spleen meridians. And we allow ourselves to target these areas through compression, through stretch, through pressure, through stress, all in a very controlled, gentle way. The meridian body is thought to carry energy through you. The life force that is constantly flowing to you and through you is thought to be carried through these channels, however you choose to name them or think of them. Each channel is thought to relate to a different emotion, a different internal organ. When you're feeling ready, we're moving into our next counter pose or next pose. So this pose here was a counter pose and a pose in and of itself because the feet were able to relax. We were able to allow the energy to flow freely through the feet again. Here we've been working with the lumbar spine. And this next pose allows a surge of energy through the lumbar spine. If we would like a more intense counter pose / next pose, then we're coming into full frog, which will look like this. We have knees wide. We have the chest on the bolster or the pillow. And again, if we do not have either, then we can just draw the chest directly down towards the floor using the forearms to prop us up. If we would like a more gentle approach, if this feels too much with the knees directly out from the hips, the shins parallel to the walls beside you, then we can do just one leg. So rather than having both legs out like this, we travel back with one leg down towards the floor, and rather than having both arms down, we have one arm as a little pillow for our head. So this still releases through the lumbar spine. It still opens out through the hips. And you can tailor how far away from your body your knee is here. That will change the intensity quite dramatically. So, whether we are on one leg, both legs, or propped up in a bolster or frog, we are going to begin to relax down the body. If we are on one side, I'll let you know when to swap onto the other side. Here we're targeting the stomach and spleen meridians mostly, but we also have an open and a compression here, which allows us to target a little bit more through the side body, kidney and the liver meridians. You might feel it in the tops of your hips, the base of the pelvis. If the intensity is not very strong, then we would like to tailor the pose so that we can feel
a comfortable, maintainable intensity. Comfortable in Yin is probably taken slightly differently to the word comfortably outside of this practice. Comfortable in day-to-day life usually means no sensation, whereas in Yin, it simply means there's no sharpness, no tightness. It feels right for your body, but there can be an element of intensity. That sensation in your body, that's how we stay present within the mind. That's how the practice becomes meditative. We observe the breath. We observe how the breath feels in the body. We observe the ebbing and flowing of the intensity of the pose. And we note whether there is any rise and fall with our breath. Often the rise and fall of intensity can gently mirror the ebbs and flows of the inhales and exhales when we really focus in. We encourage stillness in our practice. This doesn't mean that you need to be completely still the whole time. We can move and maneuver until the pose feels right for us. The stillness of the practice can often feel super uncomfortable at the start. In the same way we're trying to find silence within the mind where we focus just on the sensations and just on the breath. The mind often wants to wander out of habit. And the same can often be said for the body. Often we want to fidget. We want to make those micro movements. You might find yourself tapping your thumb. You might find tension creeping back into the hips and the shoulders. Keep inviting stillness. We keep relaxing down the areas that begin to resist gravity and resist the pose. The more we relax the body, the more we're still within the body. The more we shift into that yin-like state within our energy body. In yin, we use the breath, the stillness of the body, as a way to calm the energy, as a way to shift our nervous system from fight or flight into rest and digest. When you're feeling ready, we gently draw our hands either side of the bolster. We peel ourselves a little bit up with the chest. We might have to be quite mindful here. So as slowly as we can, we slide the legs back, taking no weight on the legs here, it's all in the arms. We draw ourselves up. We're going to slide the bolster away when you feel ready. So for our next pose, we are coming onto our back. You might grab a belt nearby if you wish, you don't have to. And we're going to send the legs long. This counter pose is only 30 seconds. It's not a pose in and of itself in the way that we are spending a while here. This is for the sole purpose of inviting movement back through the hips. Movement of energy, the flow of life force, prana, chi. However you choose to think of that energy that is always flowing to you and through you, and that we are encouraging through this practice of stillness, releasing resistance, surrendering down, getting ourselves out of the way and just allowing the energy to do its thing. We release tension from the physical body. Through these deep stretches, through relaxing the muscles, which in turn encourages more movement. Allows the energy to flow more easily. And the same begins to happen within the mind. The more we invite relaxation, the more we relax down, releasing away resistance. The more we shift into a state of being rather than doing. The easier it is for energy to begin to flow to us and through us. The more we shift into that yin-like state. When you're feeling ready, we gently lift the left leg. And it is completely up to you how we take this next pose. You might grab a belt, hooking it around the foot, and lifting that leg towards the sky, like so. If that feels a little bit intense for today, you instead might interlace behind the back of the thigh. If you'd like to increase the intensity, you might hook the biggest toe. And if it is in your practice, then you can take like so, if the belt is tight enough. But I wouldn't practice this unless you are very familiar with that adaptation, because I am not there to correct if it slips down towards the neck or anything like that, as it is obviously a very sensitive area, so I usually reserve that for in the studio. However, if it is within your practice, then you can take that adaptation as well. With all yin poses, we'd like to relax as much of the body as we can. In this pose, we relax the target area, of course, which is the leg. We soften down through the torso as we are completely supported by the floor beneath us. And the arms are then encouraged to relax down. The hands are keeping the pose in place in a lot of these variations. So we do what we can. Maybe we drop the elbows to the floor so that the upper arms can relax and be yin, whilst the hands remain a little bit yang. You might wrap the belt around if it feels right for your body, so that you can relax down even more. Breathe deeply. Nourishing breaths reach towards the target area. Observe how your body feels. Observe areas of tension. Whatever we observe in Yin, we do so from a place of being rather than doing. What this means is we're watching, but we're not engaging. We're free from reaction or response. We're free from the responsibility to do anything at all. Often in day-to-day life, if we notice something within us, a thought or a feeling, we then move on to what's next. How am I going to change that? How am I going to get rid of that? How am I going to get more of that? In Yin, it's simply about acknowledging what is in the moment. I like to think of it like grabbing a spotlight and just shining, looking down, looking in, on whatever is at present. With this spotlight, we're not aiming to seek what we need to change. We're just observing. We're just existing and watching. It's not that there is good or bad. Everything we observe just is. Even if we observe emotions that don't feel as enjoyable than others, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just is. The same as the poses, the way they can feel intense. That doesn't mean that they are bad. It doesn't mean that they are wrong. In Yin, we're not aiming to be as comfortable as possible at every minute. Sometimes sensations arrive that feel intense. Emotions arise that feel intense. We just allow them to arise. We watch them. We breathe through them. We process them. And then eventually they all dissipate. And the next present moment is with you. When you're feeling ready, we're moving on to the other side, and we do so very slowly. We drop that leg down. You can take a little while in this counter pose of drawing the knees together and the feet wide, or we can just move straight onto the other side and take our counter pose at the end. Do what feels right for you. Your left leg can stay in a bent position here, or we can send it long. It's all about what feels right for your body. We could take the interlace, we could take the belt, we can relax our elbows down by our side. In the end, I always find it helpful to start with the physical and then move on to the mind, then the energy. So within your mind, when you're moving into a new pose, another side, we start off by thinking, where am I engaged? Where can I relax down? How does the pose feel? Where is gravity drawing me deeper? How can I soften more and more? Think about how the floor beneath you holds you, how supported you are, how relaxed you are, how the shoulders are relaxed and the hips, how the target area is relaxed. Think about how intense the pose feels in the target area. Observe if that intensity rises and falls with the breath. We watch that for a while, that rising and falling with the breath. In time, the mind will begin to wander. When it wanders, we observe where it's wandered to, free from judgment, free from opinion, free from secondary conversation or response. We observe each thought arriving and floating away. Sometimes thoughts arise that feel heavier, more attached, or more difficult to let go of. With these poses, it can help to cycle back to the physical. For example, if a thought arises that feels heavy, I often draw my awareness back to my face muscles, as the face can become tense when we experience heavy thoughts. Maybe a bit of tension in the forehead or the brows, the jaw, the tongue, the eyes. Just soften down wherever you can within the face. And often, as we do that, the thought will just disappear, float away. Releasing the tension from the body can often release the thought from the mind. Not just because we're releasing tension, but because we're shifting that focus back to the physical, back to what actually is in the present. The physical sensations of the pose are often intense enough to keep drawing our awareness back. Gravity will deepen you down because the muscles are relaxed. Each time we deepen, it grabs our awareness back. Whenever our attention wanders, we have this bridge back to present, the physical sensations, and how the breath changes how they feel. Often at the start of the session, when we might be a little bit more yang, because that is often what life demands of us, for us to be active and on the go, for us to be doing, even first thing in the morning when we've just woken up, and we might naturally be a bit more yin. Habitually, the mind, the body, the energy are in this permanent state of yang. We often have to actively give ourselves permission to slip into this state of yin where we can just exist and be, where we give ourselves that permission to not have to change or do anything at all. When you're feeling ready, we unhook that foot. We drop that leg down. We release our arms back, our legs long, and we come into our final pose of Savasana. You can take more of a traditional Savasana where your arms are down by your side. When we have our arms up, it often allows us to stimulate a little bit through the heart and lung meridians, areas relating to feelings of freedom, love and joy. Throughout today's practice, we've targeted meridians that mostly relate to feelings of joy, freedom, fear. For each meridian, it's thought that it exists on a spectrum of emotion, depending on how energy moves through us specifically. You might find that there is a blockage or there's too much energy running through an area, and this can mean that we experience excess or lack of specific emotions. The emotions that we feel can be very, very specific. Some relate to feelings of jealousy, feelings of apathy, feelings of money worries. All these different specific parts of the body that run deep, deep through us. We've allowed ourselves to target these areas through our deep, deep stretches, through relaxing into the poses and allowing stillness, through releasing tension from the physical body, which can block the flow of energy, through allowing ourselves to be non-doing, free from resistance, free from control, and instead stepping into that state of allowing, where we just allow energy and the universe to do its thing, allowing ourselves to receive that natural well-being that is always flowing to us and through us. Sometimes taking a step back and doing less is all we need to do to allow more. More balance, more health, more clarity, more peace. We've used the body as a tool and brought the body into a state of stillness and the breath into a state of slowness, knowing eventually this shifts our entire being into that yin-like state, into a state where the quietness and the stillness no longer feels like something we need to fidget through, chatter through, busy ourselves with external consumption, and instead it begins to feel nourishing and nurturing. That quietness and stillness becomes something that we crave, something that feels very wonderful in the moment. And it shifts our day into one of balance, allow the breath to flow freely through you. Allow your tummy to balloon up and down. We're here for 4 more deep breaths. when you're feeling ready. You slowly slide both legs into a bend. We roll onto one side. We make our way up into a seated position. We draw our hands together into Anjali Mudra. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do feel free to leave any requests in the comments section. I think I'm up to date with all the requests so far. Do correct me if I'm wrong. As always, sorry about the late upload. I am very sleep deprived. Baby is 7 months and still not sleeping. So apologies, but I will be back to more regular uploading soon. Thank you so much. Have a lovely bank holiday and I will see you soon.